Have you noticed that the relationships have become more and more complex in today's time? And because of that, so many people are spending a lot of their time talking about the relationship, but the problem is they're continuously talking about the other person. What did the other person do? What they should not have done? What they did not understand? Why won't they change? Why do they keep on doing the same thing over and over again? And how you feel about it? You may get many listening ears and you may repeat this complaint about the relationship to as many people as you like. But at the end, as you have noticed, it does not change a thing. Then the cycle repeats, somebody else, the dynamic changes or becomes difficult. And here you are again talking about the relationships again. And sometimes we have to ask ourselves, um, two things to ask. Number one, it can kind of become a habit, a pastime, just something to express how we feel. It may be useful in the short amount of time, short period of time, for the short period of time, but in the long run, nothing is changing, and you're really spending your valuable energy and time talking about others where it's not going to help you feel better. So the point of this video I want to make is, what if that we spend that time on ourselves, right? That's where the power lies. And that's what I'm going to unpack in this video, because the truth is, when you realize how you are contributing, because in the end, whether you believe it or not, we are responsible for what we experience. If we can get that one thought in our head, it brings radical responsibility for every single thing we experience, even though logically there may seem like, no, but it really is the other person's fault. It doesn't matter. No, but it really, because he's a narcissist, it does not matter. Somewhere along the line, you thought that behavior was okay. Somewhere along the line, you were drawn to that behavior. So, what is in you that attracted that person to you? I want you to bring that question back to yourself, because that's how you're going to get the relief. That's how you're going to shift yourself internally, and that's how your reality changes. So, what does it mean to bring attention to yourself? Here are some of the questions that you can ask. How am I showing up here? What am I contributing to the dynamic? Where am I staying silent where I actually have something to say? Where am I saying yes when I mean no? Have you done that before? What am I tolerating and then resenting? What am I afraid will happen if I stop keeping the peace? There's fear there, right? What pattern in me keeps participating in this dynamic? And the beauty of this work is, once you recognize even one pattern, you're going to realize that it's the same pattern that you're repeating again and again in the same relationship, or you're repeating it across many relationships. So if we can get to the root of that pattern, heal that, it can, all the relationships can get really better. So isn't that a better route than you keep talking about, say, 10 people and really regurgitating the experiences over and over again and keeping the focus on what they're doing wrong? It's not about whether the other person has done wrong and who they are. It's not about that. It's about you. Since you are the one who has a problem with this dynamic, who is not feeling what you want to feel, then you have to take the responsibility in your own hands and see how you can change it. So bringing that attention back to yourself is how you're going to change. So that is one shift. It's one shift. Anytime, when I was younger, like in India, there was this saying that when you point a finger at someone else, there are three fingers that are pointing towards you. I want you to remember that so you can really look at you. So let go of the blame and bring back the responsibility, the radical responsibility. So In my work, I have recognized these 9 core steps that if we can go through those core steps and really trace the patterns to the root and heal them, our entire relationship dynamic can change and we can feel empowered inside that relationship. And that's what I'm going to go deep into this video. So, hi everyone, my name is Meena Puri. I help you release and heal the old emotional patterns that are keeping you stuck inside relationships, in leadership, and your day-to-day life. I am opening enrollment for my 12-week program for women who are ready to stop disappearing inside their own marriage and who are ready to find their voice, their boundaries, and show up as an equal in their own marriage where they matter too in 12 weeks. The description and the link to apply for the program will be in the description. The enrollment has opened already. The program begins September 1st. So if you are serious to make the change in your marriage, or in even any relationship for that matter, go ahead and click the link and apply for the program, and we can have a chat to see if if we are a good fit to work together. So let's go ahead and now dive into those 9 shifts. The first one is the awakening, right? The awakening is about getting an awareness of when you keep seeing the same argument, same conversation again and again, whether in one relationship or across relationship. It's seeing that underneath all of this, there's a certain way you are being. You're behaving the same way. You are getting triggered at the same thing. So whatever that commonality may be, that's what you want to pay attention to. So instead of paying attention to what he did, what she did, it's more like, how do I keep on showing up? That is the awakening. That is the first step. Ask yourself that question, how am I showing up across different relationships or same relationship every single day? That's why I keep experiencing the same thing. So the realization that it's not the relationship, it's a pattern that you are repeating. So number 2 is uncover the root. So what is the pattern? When you identify there's a pattern, maybe the pattern is you feel that you're always excluded. You're not part of the conversation. So why do you feel that way? Do you not speak up? Well, I don't speak up. I try to say something and then I blow up, or I don't speak up, or I speak up and even then I'm not taken seriously. Well, then we trace it back to where else have you experienced that? Right? So it's that experience that have formed the belief perhaps that what I say doesn't matter. I don't matter. So it doesn't matter. Nobody listens to me anyways. So that pattern, that belief is created in somatically in the nervous system. That's a memory in the body because of the experiences that led you to feel that belief. So maybe there are many, many childhood experiences where you were just ignored or excluded. Nobody asked for your opinion. Even when you try to talk, they just kind of brush you off. So you learned that, oh, I'm not important. I shouldn't say anything. And if I say something, it's going to disrupt the peace. And if I say something, I don't say it well enough, nobody would understand me anyways. So anyways, I'm just giving you some examples. So that could be the causes. But the point is for you to trace the root of that way of being, of that pattern. When we trace the root, then we can reconnect with yourself. Like, that's who I was. I actually wanted to say. I actually had a good idea. I actually really believed that. It actually really hurt me when nobody hurt me. So it made me feel I was dumb, but I didn't think I was dumb. And that reconnection plus healing the experiences, deeply healing the experiences that help you, that made you believe certain things that you keep on repeating in your relationships and still recreating the same experience as if it just happened yesterday, as if happening as if it is just happening today. So it's the same experience, just a different environment, different person, but the experiences keep on repeating, and that is what you are healing. And the fourth milestone is through that work, you begin to find who you are, your authentic self. What do you really believe about you? What do you really want? What do you stand for? So that's all part of the deeper healing work. And when you reach that step, you begin to self-trust. So that healing is not something you do in your head, and I'll explain that a little bit more. And you begin to see yourself in a whole new light and really take a stand for who you are and trust your own knowing. That's where you begin to build the self-trust. When self-trust is there and you know who you are, what you want, that's when we can begin to build healthier boundaries. We can't create boundaries if we don't know what we want. We can't create boundaries if we continue to self-doubt. We can't create boundaries if we believe we're not even allowed to want anything. So, however deeper your patterns are, we go as deep as you need to go so you can heal that one thing at the root. So everything else changes in your relationship, one relationship, or across your relationships. So when you can connect with yourself, find your voice, know who you know what you want, and create healthy boundaries, you make grounded decisions. Your decisions are not based out of fear. Your decisions are based out of self-trust and self-love. You are grounded in it. So you never have to explode or shout it out. You just simply state it in one simple sentence and without having to explain it or justify it again and again. And understanding that you are allowed to want what you want. Okay. And that's how you begin to step into the next chapter. So the next chapter could be the same relationship, but it's a beautiful dynamic. That relationship can be nourishing, can be nurturing, can be supportive. What happens when you pay attention to yourself, you spare the relationship to carry the burden of making you happy, giving you everything you want. It doesn't work out like that. You spare your spouse from having to fulfill all of your needs because no one really can. When you fulfill your own needs, you show up in the relationship, someone who is already happy and fulfilled and clear. That actually most of the time changes the dynamic and it changes the other person. So I want to make a little caveat here. So there are relationships that are, the truth is every time I make this video, I can give you thousands of exceptions because the truth is relationships are very personal and very nuanced. I cannot in one video cover every individual situation or circumstance. So this work is very nuanced because the psyche of each individual is very, very complex. So the exception is so that, we have to talk about the toxic or abusive relationships because they exist more than we would like to think. So even though there's a lot of material on the other person, everything they have done, I still don't want you to get trapped in that details and understanding that. I want you to still bring your attention back to why did you attract this to you? I was in a narcissistic relationship. Okay. The only way I was able to heal that is when I figured out why I was so drawn to this behavior. Right. So it was no more, it wasn't about the person. It was about why was I drawn and heal that led me to that kind of a dynamic, that led me to believe things on face value, that led me to just slip into fantasy and not noticing what the reality is, that led me to think this person has potential, that led me to think, oh, one nice thing can cancel out 10 mean things, right? It doesn't work like that. So I want you to take your power back and start asking, How are you showing up? So the point is to bring attention to yourself. And so now the question is, many times, you can listen to this video. There's a lot, information is everywhere these days. Anybody can find it. But here is the point. Here's rather the problem. The problem is too much information can make us feel that we know it all. So I want you to look at your circumstances. It's not what you know, but how do you feel on a day-to-day basis? How do you feel inside a relationship? So I'm specifically talking about marital relationship because you're living with that person on a daily basis. Your life is intertwined. So really take a look at, has anything changed or become better for you because you know different? For most people, it does not change. It may change temporarily, but the same patterns take over and we become the same old, whatever we are comfortable with. So because knowledge or insight, it does not create transformation. Knowledge is not wisdom. Wisdom is understanding. Wisdom actually is applying the knowledge and then we experience it. When we experience it, that we never forget it because now it's a different experience in our body, in our nervous system. So we want to transform or we want to shift that knowledge into wisdom so we can transform, so we become different, so we no longer are attracting that dynamic to us and how that will impact the other person's behavior towards you. So if you are ready to do that work, I am opening 10 spots in my 12-week program for women who are ready, who truly are ready to stop disappearing inside their marriage. They're ready to find their voice. They're ready to set boundaries and they're ready to show up in a marriage where they matter too in 12 weeks. So the work that I do is very deep, and actually, many times we think if we do the deeper work, it's going to take longer. Not if you follow uh, a path that is effective. So imagine talking about each relationship on the surface in therapy or digging out the past, and you can do that for a long time. But I want to really give you is the tools, the exercises, the somatic practices that are actually going to heal the patterns from the root so you become different. How would it feel for you to be free of always having to talk about your marriage or your relationship? The relationship that consumes your time, right, is always hanging over your head. That's problematic. You want your mind to be clear so you can be you, so you can find what your purpose is, so you can become creative and you can really be present in your life. That is the gift that you can give yourself of this deeper work. So if you're ready to do that, there is a link to the application. It just has 5 or 6 questions. So I understand where you're at. And then there's a 40-minute Zoom call, so we use that time really wisely. So this is not just chit chat. So this Zoom call is very specific where I just want to know what is that biggest struggle that you have inside your relationship and continue to go deeper into it so you understand the enormity of what you are experiencing instead of thinking that, oh, it's no big deal, instead of you normalizing it and how it is impacting your overall health, your life, your children. And in that Zoom call, I will lay out the path that I have created, the 12-week for you. If we are a good fit, then you go ahead and register. And also, I turn away women who are not a fit to work together. And in that case, I will be very honest. If you're not a fit, and I will take you to a place, if I can guide you to a different place that may be a better fit, I do that all the time as well. So if you are, so I'm really wanting women who are truly ready and committed, and they're committed to changing their life. You have one life to live. How long do you have? You can't continue to suffer inside a relationship when within 12 weeks you can experience something profoundly different. where you can breathe easy, where your kids can use you as an example, where that may even change your spouse and your whole environment in your house changes, and how life can change, how everyone around you can change and can take motivation from you. So if you are interested in that, go ahead and click the link in the description and fill out the application. It's really 5, 6 questions. Schedule a call, and I would love to sit with you and have a chat. All right, thank you so much. If this video was useful, please share it with another woman, a friend, a neighbor, colleague, a sister, a mother, somebody, a sister-in-law who might be struggling inside her marriage. Please share that with her, share the link with her, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much again, and I'll see you at the next video. Take care.